Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets, hosted by Barry Habib of MBS Highway. Brought to you by Planet Home Lending. Secured by private equity, Planet Home Lending might just be the largest wholesale lender you've never heard of. Our competitive pricing opens the door, but we know it's our knowledgeable and accessible account executives who will make Planet Home Lending your first and last look on every loan.
Welcome to another edition of Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib at MBS Highway. This is created exclusively for Mortgage News Network and brought to you by our friends at Planet Home Lending. Well, last week we got the big jobs report, and it was a little stronger than expectations, but mortgage bonds really didn't have a hissy fit over it. They kind of remained stable. Why? Because hourly earnings really didn't move, and that's the big inflation figure. So here's the mindset of the Fed. If we're not getting that wage pressure inflation yet, there's no real urgency to panic, so they can kind of take a wait and see attitude. Now, the unemployment rate dropping to very low levels from already low at 4.4 to 4.3%. And then when we take a look at what's going on with job creations at 209,000, that was pretty darn good as well. The thing of it is that when you take a look at why this is happening without wage pressure rising, it could be just great technology that we're all experiencing. And while the Fed may be using something like these old models called the Phillips curve, meaning low unemployment means that wages are bid higher, we may not just be seeing that because, okay, sure, the rates of unemployment are low, people are being employed, but technology is really helping to keep costs down. I'm not so sure that the Fed has taken all of that into consideration yet, or a lot of the old economists that do modeling aren't necessarily taking that into consideration. So we will see, but for now, kind of steady as she goes. Now this week, speaking of inflation, we're going to get some really important inflation reports on the wholesale side later this week. And then on Friday, we're going to get retail inflation via the CPI. It's a very important inflation report, and it has been extraordinarily low. We have seen inflation numbers much below the Fed's target. We just got, 2 weeks ago, we just got the PCE, the personal consumption expenditure, and that was a really low number as well. So way below the Fed's expectation. And the bond market loves that. The bond market loves low inflation. We've got low global inflation. That's really the enemy of the bond market. When you say, okay, what could cause interest rates to rise? And, Alan Greenspan talking about we're in a bond bubble. It's possible that we could be. The man is a very bright man. Of course, he was our Fed chair for 18 and a half years. He would move the markets with any kind of verbiage or any kind of comment. But you remember his irrational exuberance comment. He said the markets are reaching a point of irrational exuberance. The Dow was at 6,000. It went all the way up to 10,000. Now, yes, it came down, but it really just came down to the level where he said it was irrational exuberance, and that took years to occur. So, out and out, he was very wrong on his comment. Is this a repeat of that? Is he seeing something, or could he be right this time? Hard to say. He feels we're in a bond bubble. He says just based on history, we've never seen rates at these low levels, and they have one place to go, and that's up. But we've heard that story before, and that hasn't exactly happened. Look, if you ask me, rates are going to be impacted by one of two things: credit quality or inflation. Now, credit quality is an obvious one. If credit quality gets weak and there's the risk of repayment not happening, lenders are going to demand that they have to be compensated to take on that additional risk. But we're not seeing that right now. Unemployment rate of 4.3%. Good economic factors. We're not seeing that. So I don't think it's a credit quality issue. The other one is inflation. Inflation would cause interest rates to rise because inflation is the enemy of bonds. Think of it this way. If you lent your money and it was something like a mortgage where you received a monthly payment, let's just say you got $2,000 a month. You receive that $2,000 and let's say you buy a basket of goods and services and you buy the same thing the next month, the same thing the next month, the same thing the month after. Over time, something starts to happen, and the money that you're receiving, that $2,000 a month, doesn't go as far. It can't buy all the stuff that it used to because of, as you know, inflation. Inflation making things cost a little bit more, slowly but surely, starts to erode the buying power of a fixed payment like a mortgage, like a bond. So that when you're in a position of holding that if you see inflation is very low or very tame, you know the erosion is so mild, you can afford to offer a low rate. But what if inflation started to rise? What if inflation got to a point where it started to erode the buying power much more rapidly? Well, on loans you've already made, the money that you've already lent out, you can't do anything about that. If it was a fixed rate, you're stuck with it. But on future loans, in order to compensate you for the more rapid rate of erosion, there's only one thing you can do. One thing you can do is charge a higher rate so that that payment you receive is a higher payment for the same money, so that you're starting at a higher point, so that the erosion, while it takes place more rapidly, the fact that you're starting at a higher level, it counteracts the effects of inflation. So those are the two things that can impact higher rates that could cause a bond bubble. At the present time, I don't see that happening. After all, central bankers have been really trying very hard to create inflation. They haven't done so yet. Again, a big factor on this could be technology, keeping things very efficiently priced. Now, can we get inflation in the future? It's quite possible, but at the present time, it doesn't seem that way. Energy prices seem to be in check. We've seen oil go up a little bit, but again, technology, making the production of oil much more cost-effective and able to extract oil in ways and places that we weren't able to before, means that, you know, what they say is the cure for higher oil prices is higher oil prices, making it very cost-effective at higher price levels to extract it in different ways. So I'm not so sure we're going to see significantly higher rates at any time. I'm not so sure Mr. Greenspan is right, but we still have to pay the respect and be on guard. For now, it's a good time to be in the mortgage business. It's a good time to be in real estate. The market looks great ahead. And if you want to follow it on a daily basis, just go ahead and take us up on a free trial to MBS Highway, or better yet, subscribe and take advantage of all the features. I mean, you're in a big money business. Don't you and your clients deserve to get the best advice and have the best tools, beat your competition, and win? Talk to you next week. Bye.
Feel the difference of what a decentralized operation makes. With account executives in your backyard and in your office, not hidden in a call center, we know what you and your borrower desires based on your market, and we'll be in your office helping you through every step of the way. Those are just a few of the differences our clients see every day with Planet Home Lending Wholesale.
This is Mortgage News Network.